Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Two in the Cooler. Thank you guys for listening to the show. If you don't, follow us on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, all at Two in the Cooler. And if I were you, I would definitely be subscribing to the YouTube page. We've got full episodes on there, clips from all our great guests that we've had on. It's really cool. I think it's the best way to get the podcast, but you guys, do your thing. This episode, just Matt and I. We can do a couple good conversations I think you guys are really going to like. But before we get into it, I've got to tell you about Instacart. Instacart is, without a doubt, the best way to get not just groceries, but some of your favorite products from some of your favorite local stores delivered right to your door in as little as 1 hour. Why go to the grocery store? It's the worst place on earth. It's a labyrinth of fear and trans fats. I really do hate going to the grocery store, though, so avoid all that. Don't make your life harder. Just use Instacart. The best part is, right now, Two in the Cooler listeners get free delivery on their first order of $10 or more. All you have to do is spend $10 or more, and they'll deliver it absolutely free right to your front door in as little as 1 hour. Hit the link in the show description and start using Instacart today. I've also got to tell you about the merch, folks. I'm wearing some right now. Super comfortable. I love this sweatshirt. Teespring.com/store/2 in the cooler. We've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, think of it, we've got it. Whatever you want to wear. We've got something for every season, whatever you're looking for. All of it is super, super comfortable. It was a big deal to me when we started putting out merch that it wasn't some really crappy brand that's going to feel uncomfortable and is going to shrink the first time you wear it. Because everybody chooses that one type of shirt when they put out their merch because it's a cheap kind of shirt, so they want to make as much money as they can by screwing you. Not us. That's not what we do, baby. Our merch, Target quality, top quality. I'm talking Target level. You are going to love the way it feels. I guarantee that. We've got logo merch, Matt Can't Read, #pizza tipping, and this is the last week that we're putting out the summer line PTP, Protect the Prostitutes. After this, that line is gone, so get yourself a PTP tank top or something like that. Get yourself something nice, get yourself something comfortable, something that you are going to look good and feel good in. That's teespring.com/store/2 in the cooler. Just hit the link in the show description. It'll take you right to that page. We've got all kinds of great stuff on there. All right, folks, thank you once again for listening. Without further ado, here's the episode. You're going to start the episode by busting everybody's ears.
Oh, we started.
Yeah, I think it probably caught that part. I don't know whether it did or not.
That was a sound on a TikTok I was just watching about a 2-bedroom Dallas apartment with a full yard.
That's
pretty interesting look.
What is that?
I don't know.
But
it's something.
Yeah, it's a song or something.
I have a couple things on top of my head that I'm going to fire off right away.
Okay, let's do it.
We're going to get into it. How have you been?
I've been good. Look at this. I got an ice cold cherry Coke, and everything is black and white. Da 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 da. That's from a country music song that I heard.
What?
That whole fucking thing that I just said.
Well, I wasn't listening.
Oh my God.
I saw a TikTok that said that people with ADHD, they do this thing and they don't even realize they do it. And I think I've discovered that I do it. And it's that when people start talking, you have so much going on in your brain that you come up with like so many different scenarios of like how what they're saying is going to end. So in your mind, you already know what they're going to say. So your mind then just goes on to something else and you end up not even listening to what's happening.
Yeah. Assholes.
Well, it's not my fault. There's a lot of distraction in the world. But anyway, I brought this up to you yesterday, and I wanted to talk about it on the show because I think it is one of the funniest things that's ever happened.
Yeah, explain to me fully what this whole thing is.
So, for those of you who don't know, Bishop Sycamore, I think that's the name of the school.
Yeah.
Skidmore? Bishop
No, it is
Sycamore?
It's Sycamore, yeah.
Bishop Sycamore played a high school football game against IMG this past weekend, and it was nationally televised on ESPN. Everybody knows IMG, like the Sports Academy, basketball, football, all that nonsense. But apparently this high school, Bishop Sycamore, just doesn't exist. It's not a real high school. Like, it's not a real anything. It's all fugazi. And nobody at ESPN took the time to do the due diligence to figure out like what this school was, because it doesn't exist. And it's all like dropout JUCO players. You know what JUCO is? JUCO football.
I feel like
they have JUCO baseball too.
I feel like I heard that word a lot in 2004.
Yeah, closer than that. You know that show Last Chance U?
Yeah.
Like, that's JUCO football. Like, ECC has a JUCO football team. It's like not NC. It's people who maybe, from what I know about it, like Josh Allen played JUCO football, I'm pretty sure. People who don't commit to Division I schools or whatever can go play JUCO football for 2 years and then try to commit from there or whatever. Something like that. Something along those lines. So these guys, it's like a bunch of like 20, like older guys that play for this mythical high school, and they just get clapped by all of these super good high school teams. And they play like they played 6 games last year. They had a game 2 days before their game that was televised, and they have a game coming up this weekend too. And they just play, and they don't exist. The address of their high school is a residential house.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's hysterical.
It is interesting. It is a really funny idea, but I've got to wonder, like, why does it exist? Like, who is really to gain from it? Do, like, those players gain from it? Okay.
There's no way. They get destroyed.
Right.
They're not good.
Right.
And they're old, and they play high school kids, and they lose.
Like, what's the name of that school? Got something Sycamore?
Bishop Sycamore?
That's a good name for a school,
yeah,
right?
It's a school
like,
name.
that sounds like a school that maybe's got some respect on it.
My theory behind it is that somebody was... A former athlete got pretty high one night and watched Accepted, the movie, and was like,
oh my God.
We could totally do this, but with football.
That's
how it started.
Of course. That movie is a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It's an underrated movie.
What's that guy's name?
Justin Long.
I like that guy a lot. He's got a really good face for like roles like that. He looks kind of like... He's one of the most average-looking people that you'll ever see in your life.
He really is a very average-looking guy. That's true. Yeah, he's
but that movie shows that average people can do extraordinary things.
That is an excellent movie. It just came out. If you made that movie today, I think it would, just because of the way movies are now, you would have to change it a little bit. That'd be way better. Because like comedies back in that era, it was like kind of right before they started to get revamped by like the Rogan Apatow era.
I don't think... Yeah, okay. So that movie probably came out in what, 2000?
I want to say 7.
Okay.
Which was the year before Superbad came out. But it might have been earlier. It's either 2007 or 2004. No, it's got to be 2004 because Jonah Hill's in Accepted, and he's still...
Not
like,
Jonah Hill.
Yeah, people think that Superbad Jonah Hill was fat. Jonah Hill pre-Superbad. Watch the movie Grandma's Boy. You'll have to look for him. You won't even recognize him. Jonah Hill in Grandma's Boy and Jonah Hill in this movie.
Ask me about my wiener.
All-time line.
Yeah.
I will never forget even seeing the trailer for that on TV.
That's a really good... But let's break it down real quick.
Okay.
So you're a kid that just graduated high school. You don't get accepted into any colleges.
Mm-hmm.
So your idea is to go squatters' rights mode on an old abandoned insane asylum.
They bought that building, though.
Oh.
Yeah, they did it legit.
With what money?
Somebody had a bar mitzvah or something, I think.
Oh,
I think Jonah Hill's character, his family was rich, because that's why Jonah Hill actually got into...
Yeah.
So I think he paid for it. Hill Valley? Hill something.
No, it was one word.
Hilldale.
Hillbart.
Hillbart? I don't think so. That's close.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay. Because, yeah, they create the Hill, whatever, Institute of Technology, and that's their fake school.
Oh, Harmon. Yeah, because South Harmon.
Yeah, South Harmon Institute of Technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those movies that would come on Comedy Central like
And you'd have to watch
Saturday
it.
afternoum or something. And
There's
even though it's
fruit
sunny
fly
outside.
between me and my microphone.
Okay, flop it out of the
No,
way.
he's gone now, but I just but back to the school, then back to accepted.
Okay.
This school, it also turns out that their head coach has a warrant out for his arrest, which
Yeah.
is something I think is even more funny because you are a man who's probably trying to stay somewhat under the radar, and you decide to take your fake high school football team to go play on national television.
Well, it just like I think that's like an ego thing, kind of.
They
you know
were
what I
tweeting
mean?
out pictures because they told ESPN they were this like really elaborate school that had
Yeah.
all these really good football players, and then it kind of came time and they didn't even really give ESPN a roster. They gave them a paper with like a few names on it, but not even close to like for example, a guy got injured during the game, and they were like, "Looks," it was like number 93 is down on the field injury. We don't even have numbers on the roster. We don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's the coach though. They fired him yesterday. So
Bishop
he's out.
Sycamore fired their coach.
Yeah.
That
Imagine getting fired from a fake school.
who fired him?
That's I don't know. The Santa Claus.
If you listen to all, I'm sure there's a lot of people saying this right now, a lot of big J's trying to get in contact with the people from Bishop Sycamore. But if you are on the football team or have any connections to it, listen, we are not big J's. We are not here to judge you. Come have a conversation with us. We would have a lot of fun.
Imagine though somebody emails twointhecooler@gmail.com saying they're from Sycamore, but they're not. They're pretending to be from a school that doesn't exist.
I don't care.
That's classic.
Come on.
That makes it even better.
If you tell me that you are from Bishop Sycamore, you can come on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll believe you immediately.
Yeah. No credentials needed, because what credentials would
why
there be?
exactly?
Yeah, it got me thinking, like, this is a funny idea.
That's
I've been saying to my
hilarious.
friends, we should totally start a fake high school hockey team and go around and play like all the top schools in the country.
Well, I feel like the thing with this Sycamore deal, I feel like who would have to gain but like really elite schools that want to get more wins on their rosters. That's where my conspiracy brain goes.
But the
immediately.
thing is that there's a lot of some of these big schools. There's a lot of shitty high school football teams out there that you could play, and you'd be playing actual high school kids, and that you could destroy, and it wouldn't matter.
but
like,
people,
why?
but people know that they kind of put an asterisk on that win. Like if you're not playing a good program.
There's a win. There's an asterisk on playing Bishop Sycamore in general. They're not a real school, Andrew.
Yeah, but
you should lose
Matthew,
all credibility if you play them, because how
Agreed.
has nobody done the due
Agreed.
diligence to I mean, now people are going to know,
Right,
but
but
previous
before-
to this, they played a 6-game schedule last year.
Sure, but before, I'm saying nobody knew that they weren't real. So if they were able to present themselves as this big school, which obviously they did to ESPN successfully, then it'll make your team seem better.
Yeah, but once you played that team, you'd realize that this is not a real thing.
That's what I'm saying. They're in on it the whole time.
The other schools are in on it. That's
my theory.
That's not a great theory.
Why though? Why is it so bad? Maybe it's not great, but why is it a bad theory?
Because when you're a school, I'm gonna get a little philosophical on you
Okay.
here. When you're a school like IMG who wants to be the best, you don't play games just to beat opponents, because you don't get any better by playing lesser competition. You get better by playing better teams. Their whole prestige is that, like, we are like all about athletic excellence. You know what I mean? They're gonna go out. They want to play the best of the best. They want to beat the best of the best. People know that they're at an elite level. So I don't think that goes the way you're thinking it. Plus, if you're looking at actual like rankings and stuff, especially when it comes to football, beating a team that's horrible / doesn't exist by 50 plus points means less than losing to like the number 1 team in the country by a touchdown.
Got it. But if nobody knew that the school didn't exist, like they did, and so by all appearances, well, hold on, just let me work through this.
I know your theory.
But hold on, but I want to express it a little more clearly and get into some other things. So you made me lose my train of thought a little bit. Jesus. By all accounts, what it looks like is that you have just crushed a very elite, a very respectable team. I'm still going. A very respectable team. That's good for you, regardless of what's that other school? IMG,
Academy?
Whatever they put out. I mean, yes, you want to be excellent and all that stuff. Of course, that's what they're saying. And I'm not saying like this that's what IMG is doing specifically, that team, but a team like that says, we want to be the best. We strive for athletic excellence, sure. But at the end of the day, it's all about looking good so that you can get some of your players drafted and get better high school recruits so that your school gets more money. That's what it's really all about, no matter what, right?
Okay, here's the thing. Bishop Sycamore, fake high school, went 0-6 last year. They scored 42 points, gave up 227. There's like and even if you don't know it's a real school though, Andrew, you can look that up.
Yeah, but again.
So
no,
nobody's coming out here thinking that they're elite.
Isn't that the whole point?
No, the reason that they played each other. Well, they said they were elite, but if IMG knew who they actually were, they wouldn't have played the game.
Okay, right.
They're not in this together.
No, and I don't think that, but I'm just saying.
No, that's exactly what you're saying.
I'm not saying them specifically though, but I'm just saying in general. A legitimate high school team like IMG could do this, and maybe Bishop Sycamore was set up to be approached by elite level high school teams to make them look good. And again, yes, 0-6 last year, they gave up all those points, but to know that, you have to look it up. You have to do your due diligence, and nobody's been doing that.
But what I'm saying is, I understand what you're saying, and in a certain situation, it wouldn't be a bad theory. But if schools did their due diligence and looked up who Bishop Sycamore actually was, they wouldn't play them.
Well, I guess that depends. I think if the schools. I mean, if you set it up, if Bickmore was set up like, what is it? Sycamore?
They don't even. But this is like so. They don't even have a website. They have nothing. They don't exist really. So it's just somebody calling somebody and saying, "Hey, like we're this elite school from Ohio or wherever, Texas, or from somewhere."
Ohio, I think, is where
we're this elite school from Ohio. Like, you want to put us on your schedule this year? And they say, "Yeah." That's all it is. It's a quick phone call.
Right.
A couple emails.
Right. Or
no,
it's a big conspiracy.
Right. Moving past
I'm just saying,
that,
I think
I'm sick of your conspiracy.
I'm just saying that's an interesting...
You're taking the fun out of it by making it a conspiracy.
Disagree. Why?
No, because it's more funny to think that there's this school out here that's just been conning people to play.
But what do they get out of it?
They don't get anything out of it.
But it's practically like a law of physics. Like, seriously, for anything to happen, somebody has to be getting.
I don't know. Maybe the payers are playing to play for this fake high school. Maybe they're getting somehow. I'm sure there's money involved.
Yeah. But in what way? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't think that they were organized by another school to make. No,
I'm not
because it
saying
doesn't
either.
make
It's
sense.
like the movie The Wedding Ringer with Kevin Hart.
Because I'll tell you this.
Sycamore is Kevin Hart in that movie.
Let me propose you this. Do you think that IMG looks better or worse in the eyes of the public or the eyes of like future athletes for playing that football game?
No, because
no what? I said, was it better or worse?
Oh, they don't look worse in the eyes because what it seems like is they got conned. That's what it seems like.
That's why they look worse. If you're going somewhere, if you're going to an elite athletic institution,
because you would want
and
them to do
they
that.
can't even do the due diligence to see who you're playing. You look like a bunch of morons. It doesn't help them at all, unless they thought that nobody was ever going to figure this out.
Right. Which is what I'm saying is possible for that's what this whole thing would have been built on if that
people figure everything out. The internet
eventually.
Yeah.
Now more than ever.
The game was played a day after the game was played. They figured it out.
Yeah, but people are still kind of getting used to that. Like other people discovering things through the internet. That's still kind of a new thing. I'm just saying it's possible. I'm not saying that's what happened in this instance. I think that's one of the least possible things that we've talked about. But I think potentially that's why Sycamore was set up. I think that could be a thing.
They still are playing. Like they still are planning on playing games.
Yeah, I saw that. I know somebody canceled on them, but at this point, yeah. I get what you're saying about they look worse for not doing their due diligence.
There's also this is a rabbit hole that I got down, and I don't have any information in front of me, but apparently there's a college that's similar that they think has some ties to Bishop Sycamore. That's a fake college that plays football games, and they play them like they showed their schedule. They have like games on back-to-back days, which you don't do in football, and some of them they have like a 3 a.m. game and like a 7 a.m. game, a 1 a.m. game. Like they have wicked game times. I think that it's because they have to sneak onto their own field.
Right. This is... Something is up here.
Yeah, something's going on.
I'm not saying my conspiracy is right, but I think there is something at play here.
One thing, and it kind of stays on the topic of sports, but I wanted to talk to you about it. Have you seen that Netflix has the new Untold documentary series going on?
I feel like I saw something about that.
So the big one that came out first was the Untold Malice at the Palace.
Oh, that's a part of a whole series? I didn't realize that.
Well, it's its own individual. You watched it, the Untold
Yeah, I watched that.
Okay, so let's start there.
Okay.
So good.
Awesome. I just want to say I've brought Malice at the Palace up on this podcast like
I think we've talked about it before
sure.
because I've seen the ESPN 30 I knew about it. Actually, there was a guy that I went to college with. He was on the basketball team. He's a great guy. I wish I could shout him out, but I don't know. Yeah. But he's a great dude. Shout out to you if you're out there. And I'm almost positive at one point in time he said that somebody he was related to, like his uncle or something, was on the Pistons during the Malice at the Palace.
Oh, yes. I know who you're talking about. And he would have been. He would have been
How do you
involved.
Know what I'm talking about?
I just remember this from forever ago.
Previous?
One time we talked about it. Yeah. Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
So when I first started getting into basketball, I was obsessed with the Malice at the Palace because that's something that's never happened before.
Can I make a blunt claim right now?
Sure.
The NBA, no, not the media surrounding the NBA when that happened was just as racist as could be.
That's
unbelievably racist.
Crazy.
I was watching this ESPN documentary, and you're hearing the stories of the perspective of the guys who are on the court, and then you're hearing what the media says about them, and you're like, this is a straight-up racism.
It's a straight-up racist attack on basically all those guys that were involved.
Insane.
That's what it turned into. And I'm
watching it, I'm like, this is one of the most racist things I've actually ever, seen. Because you hear the guys that were in it, and they're sitting here saying, like, okay, so, and none of them are denying that. Well, here's the thing, and this is how I look at it, because there is still one prevalent argument that I think has nothing to do with race, and that is, but this is not what I'm sticking with. I'm just going to put it out there, is that, these guys are professional athletes. They're getting paid millions of dollars to play sports. They shouldn't be, storming into the stands, whatever. Here's the thing about it. there's a scrum on a basketball court. At that point in basketball, I liked basketball a lot more back then than I do now. Like, it was fucking violent. And I love that shit.
Should seen it in the 70s.
So a little like scrum on the court, nothing, no issues. But then the beer gets thrown, or the cup, whatever it was.
Bottle, like a plastic bottle.
That's where it all starts.
Yeah.
So and I'm sitting here watching this, I'm like, because I know they did try to press charges on that guy, but wasn't like big charges. Like, they were like, you know what I mean? I don't remember what they were.
Well, I think it was like inciting a riot.
No, it wasn't.
Stuff. Okay.
It wasn't. Well, that's not what they said in this Netflix documentary. But I'm like, how is it not inciting a riot?
Yeah.
And then you hear, how about that fat cocksucker that walked down on the court?
I want to talk about that guy.
I want to beat the fuck out. I tweeted about him.
Did you really?
Yeah. What a piece of shit.
I can't believe that he, so many years later, is still such an asshole. Because this guy, watch the documentary if you haven't, but this guy, so he got punched in the face by Ron Artest. And it's because he ran up to Ron Artest looking to punch him.
Yeah. So
then this guy, and they interview him because it was a big, that was a clip that they used
and that
a lot.
O'Neal dude, O'Neal, what's his first name? He played for the Pacers, number 7. Like, he's the guy who then
who ran up? I can't
almost
remember.
Ended this man's career. That dude. So this is in his interview.
This is the fan.
He says this at one point in the interview. He says, so like, it's getting crazy, like, and all of a sudden they start pushing everybody towards the exits, and next thing you know, I'm on the court. That was his exact quote from an interview. Like,
well, my thing is,
and he's walking on the court like this, double fist up,
ready to go.
Like, not up, but like at his sides. Like,
no, they were slightly elevated. They were slightly elevated.
And he's walking straight at, who was it?
Ron Artest.
Yeah, he's walking straight at Ron Artest, literally like this, staring him dead look in the eye. Him and his buddy, like
squaring up, just straight up squaring up.
Yeah, and he's calling Ron Artest a scumbag in his interview for punching him.
And he
called him a pussy.
He called him a bunch of names, and then this fucking guy. God, I don't have my phone. We should look up this fucking guy's name.
I'll look it up.
Because this guy, who is such a piece of shit, he got banned, obviously, from all NBA events after that. And he goes, I can't believe they would treat a season ticket holder that way.
Yeah.
I can't believe what they did to me. And it's like, oh, this guy still thinks that he was in the right for doing something completely ludicrous. Like, this guy is just, it's weird because most of the time when you see somebody be a piece of shit, I think you can sometimes just kind of feel like that's an isolated moment. They're having a rough time and they're just a piece of shit. But this guy, to see someone on camera be so unaware of themselves and just show that they are a piece of shit year-round, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, was fascinating. There's something delusional about it. It is, and this guy was, I mean, just exactly what you would think. I'm telling you, watch a documentary. It's so good. It's really one of the most interesting events, I think, in professional sports ever, because that's the only time that's happened where that barrier between fan and player has been broken, and they've gone over that line and like busted in just all mayhem. And then, yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff. I think that this was maybe just the way it was edited, but it seemed like it made it seem kind of like the cops maybe didn't try to stop it right away. But then that one guy, like coming at Reggie Miller, like not knowing who Reggie Miller is, that's stupid. Reggie Miller.
Yeah, it's Reggie Miller.
Yeah, if Matthew knows like who Reggie Miller is, then that guy had no excuse. Because Reggie Miller, what a great player.
Jeremiah O'Neal, that's the guy I was talking
That's the guy's name? Oh, that's the Pacers player. Yeah. He was great in that documentary.
Charlie Haddad.
What a
look at that.
Stupid
name.
name.
Look at that asshole.
Oh my God. That guy. he's one of the most interesting parts of that documentary because he's.
I was so pissed off at him.
Me too.
But yeah, anyway, the fuck that guy first of all. But back to like the whole story. You know, you're hearing the players talk about what was going on the court, and then you're hearing the media say all this shit, like saying that like the NBA put a dress code in place and stuff because of it, because they were acting too like
thug. Thug was the word.
Gangster. They used the word gangster a lot.
Thug was the word they kept repeating and showing over and over.
Athletes are saying, like, look at the video. We're on the court. There's like 15,000 Pistons fan storming the court, throwing shit at us, trying to fight us, and there's no security to be found, and there's only 12 of them on the whole roster, right?
Yeah.
Of course, like, they're gonna protect themselves. That's the most ridiculous
Somebody
thing.
ripped out a chair and threw it at O'Neal.
Yeah. And it hit some guy. It hurt him bad.
Yeah. Man, just the craziest part probably is the way things got misconstrued in the media, because they kind of bring up this point. Basically all the players do in that documentary is like, yeah, it's a scuffle on the basketball court. These were two teams that were very similar and were ultra competitive with each other.
Yeah, I mean,
scrape-ups are going to happen.
It was the Pacers' 7th game of the season, coming off of the season where they lost to the Pistons in the conference championship, in the conference finals.
Yeah. So, of course, like, dust-ups happen. That's a part of any sport, you know what I mean? Like, when you're out there, there's adrenaline and so much going on. You're obviously better suited to talk about that than I am, but of course this is going to happen. So, and it was calming down, and then...
Boom.
That bottle.
Yeah. John Green, I believe, is the guy who threw whoops.
Wow. Shout out to The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah. What was that? Oh, fuck. The Giver?
Yeah, that's by Lois Lowry.
Yeah. What are the other 3 books? The Star of David or something?
No,
like that?
that's a... Number of the Stars is a Lois Lowry book, but that doesn't have to do with like the main...
Oh, I don't... I'm pretty sure all 3 of them are about like the same universe.
There are 3 books, but that one is not... Wait, no, there's 2 books. It's The Giver and then Searching for Blue or whatever is the name of it.
Yeah, something about blue.
But the Number of the Stars is not a part of that.
Gathering
universe.
Blue.
Gathering Blue, yeah. Those are very interesting books for like 11-year-olds to read, or 10. I guess we were like 9 and 10 when we read them.
Yeah, I think that I was in 4th grade when I read it.
Yeah.
But I think you were supposed to read it in 5th grade. I remember there being some tension between my 4th and 5th grade teachers, because I don't think we read it. I think like our teacher read it to us in 4th grade.
That's
like, we had our own copies, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. That was so weird. That was very like cult-like when like the teacher would read from a book and then each kid would... It was a book
and you're sitting
Psalms.
on the carpet.
Yeah, just like supposedly...
That's probably why I have back problems. They're making us sitting on goddamn carpets all the time.
Oh, I mean, if you look at like kids sitting in these schools, they've got terrible... That's why we've all got scoliosis.
Carpets... Those carpets, they weren't like padded carpets either. It was literally a piece of cardboard on top of tile floor.
It's like if you
make it like seem acceptable to sit on.
Just laying a towel down on concrete.
It was hard as a rock.
Yeah.
And they were probably disgusting.
Oh, for sure. Well, who's going to clean them?
Nobody.
And they sit in a teacher's classroom for
years
30 years? Yeah.
30 might be long, but a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you get hand-me-down, though, actually. I'm pretty sure teachers will be moving rooms and someone will be like, ooh, like, can I use that carpet? And they'll be like, sure.
Yeah.
People probably piss on them.
Yeah, some of them definitely do.
But going back to the Untold, what did I say? Untold? Is that what it's called?
I guess so. I didn't realize this was going to be a whole
so
series
they have
of
4
things
of
they're
them.
doing. Oh. Is one of them that hockey one?
So this is what I was getting to. It's called Crime and Penalties. I just started watching it last night. I did not finish it. I've got about 30 minutes left. But it is hysterical. I'd never heard of this before. Yeah. So this mob guy, pretty much, buys like a semi-professional hockey team in Danbury, Ohio.
Ohio.
Excuse me.
Big day for Ohio.
Yeah, big day for Ohio. Buys a semi-professional hockey team for his 17-year-old son to run because his 17-year-old son had just had a career-ending injury as a hockey player. And they were called the Danbury Trashers because the dad's mob business obviously was
waste management.
There's a part in the documentary that they say that the Sopranos, there's rumors that the Sopranos is actually based off of this family because their names are AJ and AJ or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's you know what though? Literally
they say that about every mob boss.
Every documentary, do you remember that McDonald's documentary that came out over a year ago?
No.
There's this. It's a really good documentary on HBO. It's called McMillions, and it's all about the mob scamming the McDonald's Monopoly game.
Oh,
it's really.
I remember that happened, but I didn't.
Yeah, so this HBO documentary that came out over a year ago. It's very good, but they do that same thing. Like the main guy involved, they're like, this is the real life Tony Soprano. So they all.
I've never seen The Sopranos.
I saw a couple episodes.
I want to watch it. I think I'd like it.
Here's the thing about The Sopranos, because I've only watched I watched the first season, and the first big storyline in that show is that Tony has to push out his uncle, who's at the top of the food chain, because the uncle gets accused of going down on a woman. And this is a big thing that goes back to
what,
Italy.
If you're in the mob, you're not allowed to eat.
There's this thing. It goes. It's actually I was just talking about this with someone. It spans across several cultures, but in ancient times, it was considered unmanly to lick pussy. So if you did, you couldn't hold
power.
It was basically like you were a witch.
So they'd see if you weighed the same amount as some wood or if you floated. Yeah. But anyway, so they buy this hockey team, and they pretty much just the thing that. When I'm watching it, they're just getting into all the criminal stuff, like the FBI investigation and stuff. So I can't really talk on that yet. I'll save that for next week. But the part that I'm at was a lot of them. The commissioner of the league, it was the United Hockey League, the UHL or something like that at the time. And it was a lot of him talking about how much problems he had with the team and how much he hated them because their team was just violent. They would just beat the shit out of other teams. The thing is that they would win. The team was very good. So I don't understand. And they had a huge, a rabid fan base. So I don't really understand necessarily why the team being fighting. So because the commissioner's fighting's a part of hockey, 2-3 fights that happens, but 8 fights every night. And I'm 8 fights every night, but they're winning every game. What? Whoops. What? I don't know. And they're selling out crowds in fucking Danbury, Ohio. There can't be a goddamn thing to do there. There's not. The documentary said so.
Well, yeah, I think you just haven't gotten to the part where they really start to get into the problem.
But the whole point of that part of it was to show how the father and son had such an enforcer mentality, nobody's gonna mess with us mentality. Mm-hmm. And the dad went to jail a couple years before, 4 years before he bought the hockey team, and they didn't really say for what exactly, but he said he told his son, and his son was getting ready to graduate from 8th grade, and he told his son, he said, "Hey, I got in a little bit of trouble. I could go away for about 7 to 8 years, or I could make a deal and I could only go away for 1." And his son's response to that was, well, as long as you don't have to rat on anybody, make the deal. An 8th grader told him that. So he made some type of deal, went to jail for a year for like tax evasion or something.
Yeah.
Got out. His company is still probably I don't know what they were doing, you know what I mean? But then he buys his hockey team, and then apparently like the FBI has this full investigation, and that's what I'm getting. I just saw they just got the first wiretap down. That's the part of the documentary I'm out. But I think the story behind this hockey team is hysterical. You give a 17-year-old kid a professional hockey team, and the first thing he did, because he was like, I don't know what to do, like he brought in his old like middle school hockey coach, who I don't remember his name, but the guy is so fucked up. They had video clips of this guy coaching like 10-year-olds in hockey, and they would take the puck, and the guy would come and just like rail him from behind into the glass and take the puck from him. And they were like, did you hit like your young players during practice? He's like, oh yeah, I'd hit them all the time. And they were like, why would you do that? And his response was, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
What?
Yeah.
That's an all-time
So he was
excuse.
their equipment manager, and he would do mad funny shit. He would like turn the hot water off in the opposing locker room showers. He said that he found these towels, like these non-reusable towels that were as thin as paper towels, and he would put 6 of them in the locker room for the entire opposing team.
Oh my God.
He stole a goalie's goalie pads once, like the opposing team's goalie pads. He just took them, and they were like, "Do you know where these goalie pads are?" And he was like, "No."
Wow.
So this team was just straight degenerate city, and they would pound the piss out of everybody, but they were winning, which is why I don't understand why it was such a problem. It kind of became a problem. At one point, the dad, the owner of the team, but like his son was, like a big, like one of their top goons, somebody scummed him and broke his leg bad, ended his career. And so in between periods, the owner went into the locker room and was like, what are you going to do about it? Like to his whole team. And his team went out there and just started beating the shit out of everybody. So the refs like are throwing all these people in the penalty box, and he goes down there, starts yelling at the ref, and the ref told him to fuck off, or told him to go fuck yourself to him. And everybody in the documentary is like, he's not the kind of guy you tell to go fuck yourself. He punches the ref in the face. The owner punches the ref in the face. So then all this happens, like he gets fined a ton of money, whatever. A couple days later, he goes to visit his like enforcer guy who just broke his leg really bad. And he walks in with a piece of paper, and he slaps the piece of paper down, and it's the home address of the guy that broke his leg from the other team. And he looked him dead in the eye and he goes, what do you want to do about it? And the guy obviously thought he was kidding, so he was like, no, we'll just like keep it on the ice. But like the owner was like, yeah, what do you want to do about it? Like they were gonna go fuck him up.
Yeah, that's how they handle business.
Apparently he was paying everybody under the table in only cash.
Oh yeah. I heard that part.
Like they were saying the one night this guy scored a game-winning goal in overtime, and the owner walked in the locker room and just threw a wad of $10,000 at him, just a cash wad, and they all went to the bar after. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I want to watch that one. I want to check that one out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
there's a boxing one.
Cool, though.
There's a boxing one, and then the other one, I don't really know what it is. I haven't looked too much into it. But yeah. Crime and Penalties, it's called. Untold Crime and Penalties. You got anything else going on?
Well, I was thinking about this story because the border's open.
Yeah, it is.
This is just kind of a quick story. I don't know if I've ever told you this one before, but so I was, this was a long, long time ago. And I went to go see Jay Farrow at the Helium Comedy Club with my girlfriend at the time. And it was fucking July 11th because that's 7-Eleven day. Yeah. And we had gone to get... I went to get a free Slurpee earlier that day. You know, they have them just in the small cups. So we leave Jay Farrow, and I don't know how to drive. And my girlfriend is mad at me because I told her that she can't talk during the show. So she was really mad. And so I'm distracted and driving.
Fair.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, don't talk during the show.
Man, this is going to sound so dumb. My biggest problem with this girl was she didn't know how to whisper.
Neither do I.
Like, it came up a bunch of times. But so I'm distracted driving, and there's a part where you're getting on, and it's like the lane suddenly turns into an exit only to go to Canada. And I can't get over. I don't realize what's happening. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to Canada, and I have to pee like I've never had to pee in my life. So we're going, and there's a little traffic on the bridge, and I'm nervous now because we don't have our fucking passports or anything. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to tell these border agents? Like, are we going to have to stop? And I have to piss like crazy.
Do you go on to duty free?
No, I don't know. No, we couldn't. We were on the bridge, Matthew.
But you have to drive. You drive past the duty free to get onto the bridge.
Matthew, remember who you're talking to. I panic in driving situations. I don't remember any duty free. It was probably right there. I didn't see it. All I know is I'm in the middle of the fucking Peace Bridge or whatever, and I'm about to piss my pants, and I'm going into Canada when I don't want to be. So then I see this tiny ass Slurpee cup that's smaller than this can, and it's all I have in the car, and I'm freaking out. I'm sweating, and I just grab it. It was empty, and so I put it down by my crotch, and I like unzip my shorts, and a little starts to come out. But I realize this is not going to work. That these things have to come off more. So I start to like fully take off my pants so that like my lower area is out and exposed. Meanwhile, all I have is this tiny free 7-Eleven Slurpee cup, and it's filling up quick.
Pinch it off, dump it out, and go again.
So now, like, I have to. Because I'm not standing up straight, so the cup is tilted.
Yeah.
So basically, piss is getting everywhere. All over my shorts, all over the seat of the car. And I can't stop. There's nothing I can do about it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't want to get too far ahead of the story, but did you say to your girlfriend at the time, like, hey, I'm going to piss in this cup?
This is what happens. She is laughing at me because of how uncomfortable I am, and then I just go, "You have to hand me that cup." So I'm covering myself in my own urine, and she is just cracking up. This is her payback for me telling her not to whisper or not to talk during the show. So I'm in the middle of the Peace Bridge, and this cup is filling up. By some miracle, it gets right to the rim, and then I stop. So now I have a cup full of hot urines, piping hot urine. And I'm going across the bridge into Canada without a passport.
Why not just dump the cup out the window?
Because we're on the bridge. There's cars around. Somebody was going to see. That seems... That would not have been good. So now I don't want to keep the... I don't know. I just put the cup in the cup holder next to me.
Full.
Yes, because I can't dump the urine out the window. So now I have this full cup. It's in the cup holder, steaming like coffee.
Smelling like piss.
Steaming like coffee, smelling like piss. Available, those shirts available right now.
Steaming like coffee, smelling like piss.
Steaming like coffee, smelling like piss. And we get up to the booth, and I've got my driver's license in my hand, and there's a border agent, and so I roll down the window, and he's like, passports? And I'm like, I don't want to go to Canada. Now I'm driving home with a full cup of urine.
Still haven't dumped it.
It was there for the whole drive. I don't even remember what I did with it. I feel like that cup was sitting there for like a couple days, but it wasn't full. I wasn't full, but I think it was still. That
just
can't be
case.
right, though.
No, that's disgusting.
Just in case.
I really hope not.
Have you ever had to pee in the car?
Oh yeah.
But have you peed in the car?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. When I was driving
all the time.
Okay, what?
Not all the time. I've done it several
Constantly?
times.
I would do it when
I've seen people be out the window of a car before, moving.
That's crazy.
That's funny.
What time of day?
Later in the day.
Okay.
Nighttime, yeah. Pretty late at night.
That'd be something to see, like at 4 in the afternoon. I would love that.
I'm gonna bring something up, and you're not gonna be happy about it when I say it.
Okay.
I know where helium is.
Yeah.
I know, like, the exact spot you're talking about where you get on the bridge you don't mean to. People do it all the time. If you're going from helium back to Wheatfield, Niagara Falls, there is no reason to be anywhere near that exit.
Well, another thing that I think you know about me is that I am beyond directionally challenged, so I go where the GPS tells me. Literally, that scene in The Office where Michael Scott drives into the lake. That's me.
Well, I don't even understand why your GPS would even.
I don't know. Ask Google Maps, man.
Isn't helium by the arena?
Yeah, it's like right there.
Yeah, it's on the cobblestone road.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowhere even close to that.
I agree.
3 exits off of that.
I didn't want to go to Canada.
No, I know, but that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it was crazy to me as well when I was pissing in a free 7-Eleven cup on the Peace Bridge.
There's so many other ways you could. I guess, here's the thing. I guess if you're not somebody who. Like, I cross the border a lot, right? I used to do it for hockey all the time.
Nice.
I used to do it to go to Canada. But I'm saying, like, I'm very comfortable with crossing the border.
Yeah.
Like, if I had peed in a cup, I would have simply dumped the cup out. Like, what, in your mind, were they like, oh, people would think that's sus? Like, what?
Yeah, for sure. But also, I'm panicking.
I know, but it's still, like, the cup was probably the right play if you really couldn't hold it. I wouldn't have gotten out. I have peed on the bridge before, not the Peace Bridge, though.
Mm-hmm.
But
this is the worst I've ever had to pee in my life.
Yeah, that is a very funny story. But also, there's so many things of it, like, in it that are just so avoidable, and it makes me laugh so much because I know all of them were not on your mind because you were just in spaz mode.
Yeah, I was in full-on panic mode.
What did you think they were going to do? Arrest you for accidentally taking the wrong exit?
No. I just think that I was thinking maybe they would, like, have us pull off and, like, get out of the car, search the car, find the urine cup, and then that could cause a whole nother problem. But, get on, like, just, we're take our phones.
Well,
like,
what I will
say
is I do agree that if they wanted to search, if they were like, yeah, we're just got to search real quick, and you were like, I really have to pee, is there a bathroom somewhere? They probably would have been like, what are you throwing away
right.
in the bathroom? But you could have been just like, I seriously have to pee. You can come watch me pee if you'd like.
Right.
That's what I would have said. And then they probably would have watched you pee. But
yeah,
better than pissing on yourself in your Kia.
Kia Monte. God, that car did so much. Leather seats, so it was pretty easy to wipe off. It didn't
didn't soak in.
Yeah,
That's good.
Not too bad.
Let's get into the Who Would Win of the Week because we are on a bit of a time schedule today.
Okay, yeah.
I think this Who Would Win of the Week is hysterical. And it's the best part is it's completely non-political.
Yeah.
In the truest form of the sense. Even though it involves a high-level politician.
Yeah.
This week's Who Would Win of the Week is Joe Biden versus Abe Simpson, the grandpa from The Simpsons.
Yeah. It's a classic battle. Basically the same person fighting himself.
A lot of Alzheimer's going on. Or dementia or whatever it's called. There's a lot of... This fight will take a very, very long time because there will be many points at this fight where both parties forget that they are in a fight and just start, like...
That's a good point,
doing
actually.
Other things.
Because they're going to just... eventually, it's going to be... Here's how
they'll both probably fall asleep as well.
At some point, but I think when they wake up, though, they'll probably get right back at it. But it's going to start out physical, but really all it's going to become is two guys just, like, telling stories at each other about nonsense.
At the same time, complete nonsense.
And then, like, who can last the longest.
So you got 100 gallons of soup.
Is that a direct quote?
No, but it's something like that. It's something really, really. I don't know what it is, but it's all over TikTok. It's like, say you got something. I don't know. Something
You
cans of
gotta-
soup or cans of something. There's cans involved.
Joe Biden was a pretty fit guy, though. Like he seems like he could.
1930s.
Yeah, in his heyday. Abe Simpson was a World War II
Abe
vet,
Simpson.
but he's also a coward.
Here's the thing, though. He was a coward?
Abe Simpson's a coward. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. There's a couple. There's like this one episode
But-
where he left his partner on top of a mountain to freeze to death, and he like ran away.
But I feel
great
like, although maybe he has some coward in him, I feel like he has a little bit of grit.
Oh, for sure.
So he might not be lucid, but he at least, I feel like, could stand up for himself. Like, I could see him trying to throw punches. It might not be hard or effective punches.
Right.
But the thing is, neither of these people need to get hard to probably disintegrate.
Neither of them can get hard. Shout out to Viagra. Am I right, folks?
I said get hit hard, not get hard.
Oh, I thought
Andrew.
you said get hard.
No, get hit hard.
Well, what was I just going to say? Something about Well, here's the one thing. I think Joe Biden would be able to hit harder than Abe Simpson, but being hit like that, I don't think would really phase Abe Simpson. Look at his son, basically indestructible.
Whereas, if Joe Biden, if he eats one punch, if one punch lands, he's done.
I
You're
don't
talking
think
about
I
two
agree with
senile
that.
old men.
Yeah, but I think that of Abe Simpson's hits, though, I think Joe Biden could take a couple of them.
No, see, I feel like Abe Simpson has just a minute amount of like old man strength left in him, like he's got just a little bit of war muscle that's just been hiding deep down for when he actually needs it.
All right, I'll allow it. I guess I can see
Like, you
that.
ever seen old guys who like
Well,
are no
Goldberg,
shut up.
remember Goldberg from the WWE?
Yeah.
That guy?
Yeah.
54?
No, but I mean, like, you ever seen an old guy who was in like an army and he might not be in the best shape when he's real old, but he still has a little like mass to his arms, even though the rest of his body's not in shape.
Right.
I feel like that's Abe Simpson.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And Joe Biden, he's barely still with us. God rest his soul.
He survived falling up those stairs, though.
Barely.
I just don't think he's. I'm not saying I don't think he's made of glass, but he's just certainly not as durable as Abe Simpson.
He might be a hologram.
That'd be cool. I mean, it'd be bad, but it'd be interesting.
My thing is they both are senile and go on these rants, but I think that Abe Simpson would be able to hold it together just enough to realize what he had to do, whereas I don't think Joe Biden would have a clue where he is. If we put both of them in a boxing ring and put bright lights down on him, Joe Biden would be so confused. He would have no clue where he was. He probably wouldn't even know he was the president at that point.
Maybe he wouldn't know he was the president, but I think that he is used to lights. And I think that if somebody like pointed at Abe Simpson and was like, "That's corn pop," then Joe Biden would tear him to shreds. That might work. That's what you'd have to do.
In the fight of two senile old men, I'm going to take Abe Simpson because I think that even though you say he had some cowardly moments in his service days, he was still in World War II.
Yeah, that's
that brings enough grit to the table instantly.
Wasn't Joe Biden in a war? I feel like he was in something.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
Okay. I feel like he was in something. But also, Joe Biden being a politician, Like, he's seen stuff. There's all, especially if you're the president, like, you've seen things like dealings going on and that sort of deal. Like, you've seen the dark side of humanity one
Joe
way
Biden
or another.
was not in the military and did not serve in war.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Maybe this could be totally not factual.
Okay.
But he could have almost gone to Vietnam, maybe?
Classic. And he was on that commission to try and, like, disprove that woman was raped by that judge or whatever in the 90s. Did you see they're making well, let's finish this up and then maybe we'll talk about that, but
yeah, no, Joe Biden has no military service. I'm going with Abe Simpson. Abe Simpson, I don't even think this would be a close fight because I really don't think. I know that Abe Simpson is not lucid 90% of the time, but Joe Biden is not lucid almost 100% of the time. And 10% in that category to me makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're both at about 95% crazy. Like, I think they're basically
But I think they're
a
little bit different of a crazy.
dementia.
Like, sometimes Abe Simpson's crazy is actually crazy. You know what I mean? He gets
Right.
a little spazzy.
Right, because he's, like, cartoonish, where
Yeah.
Joe Biden's is
Joe
just
Biden-
sad and real.
Yeah, goes to sleep. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I guess when you think about it like that,
In the battle of our current president versus Abe Simpson, I'm taking Abe Simpson.
that's so funny. But yeah, I think I can't bring myself to vote against the Simpsons anyways.
Unanimous.
Yeah, I guess unanimous Abe Simpson, because look, that family's just durable. Like,
Yeah.
everything that happened to Homer, like falling down the gorge in that classic episode, Bart the Daredevil, season 2, episode 5.
Nice.
I don't know if that's
Thanks
it,
for
but
showing that off for everybody. Your
I'm
unique size
just
skills. So,
doing my best.
a clean sweep for Abe Simpson here over Joe Biden. Check that out on Friday on Instagram. Vote on it. Let us know who you think. I'm very curious here, and this is politics aside.
Yeah.
We're talking who would actually win this fight.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. Yeah,
I don't think anybody could consider this political.
because it's not. It's just two old senile men 1v1 in each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one is fake and one holds the most powerful office in the world.
Yeah. Classic. So vote on that on Instagram on Friday. Check it out at 2 in the Cooler. Who would win the week? Andrew.
Yeah.
We've been going for an hour. See how I waited?
Yeah, nice.
What else do you have on the docket? You know that I do have to get out of here, but before we do it, I feel like there's got to be one more thing on your mind. I can see it in your eye.
I mean, there's.
If you say no, then I'm just going to stand up and leave.
Okay. I mean, there's a couple things. There's another story that I've never told, but I also saw this story in the news that this guy in Michigan, his parents were forced to pay him $34,000 or over $30,000 because they threw away his porn collection, and a judge in Michigan ruled that that's like what the collection was worth, so the parents had to pay it for throwing it out. And the collection was a mix of magazines, videos, and toys.
I mean, I know some Playboys are really, can sell for a lot of money. Fun fact on that front, apparently, according to the internet, this is the best time of the year to go buy Pokemon cards at, thrift stores. Because kids go to college and their parents get rid of all their stuff from their bedroom, donate it all, and you can get steals on Pokemon cards. I don't collect Pokemon cards, but for those of you out there who do, the internet tells me that.
This is why this story is a big deal, because what you know me, where my head immediately went to was comic books. Like, I have a comic book collection that's pretty
extensive.
It's pretty extensive. Like, I've got some pieces in there that are legitimately worth something, and you've always heard stories forever of oh, mom throwing out the baseball cards that's like a Mickey Mantle, whatever. This sets a precedent that's not
a thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And yeah. I feel like the story gets overshadowed because it's porn.
Yeah.
But had it been comic books or playing cards or something like that,
I wish
it
we
would have
had.
porn.
Oh boy, I could sure go for some of that right now. No, I wish we had. I almost wish we had Sam Burkhardt here for a little, like right now, to talk
for
about
some legal issues.
Because this
Shout out
is
to
kind
Sammy
of
B.
this is an important case.
Yeah,
you know,
this is huge.
This is gonna be setting
kids
a
will
precedent.
be learning about this, like Brown versus Board, right? Wasn't that a case?
Brown versus the Board of Education.
Yeah.
Yes,
this will be like that 30 years from now. Kids will be learning.
This
about
is the
this in
new
schools.
Roe v. Wade.
Yeah. Oh Lord! All right, Andy,
Yeah,
you wanna do that thing?
get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
I love you.
I love you too.
Finger guns.
There it is.